Unlike half the NBA, we're working today. We're not taking any load management tonight. He's Tyler Foljam. He's in the seat. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. I'm in the seat. This is Bet. Welcome to the Las Vegas Strip. We have a lot to get to today. Picks for 8 of the 9 NBA games tonight. It's Thursday, which means we're going to play The Good Word. And Tim Bontemps set to join us in just a few minutes to predict the Slam Dunk Contest winner for Saturday night. I did some YouTube scouting this morning.
Oh, I hope you found a certain someone. There's only 3 guys in the whole contest, so
really just scouting
didn't necessarily take multiple hours, but there's one guy in particular who I think is head and shoulders above the rest.
We will get to that in just a little bit. If you are interested in additional coverage on UFC 259, which you can find on ESPN Plus this Saturday night, Chael Sonnen is going to join the crew from Daily Wager today, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. We'll also have that up on our YouTube page, youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. Now, before we get into some of today's menu, we got to recap yesterday's DFFS showdown, the daily Fortenbaugh Foljam showdown. Let's bring up the scores. I'm not sure who won. It's not like I was tracking it all night long, sweating. What a pleasant surprise. Daddy brings it home.
Well done. That's 4 in a row for you after I took the first 2. You're on a heater right now.
Those are some ridiculous scores, dude.
Well, anything over 300 is obviously very good. James Harden did very well. Almost had a triple-double in the first half and then goes off for 71, which we predicted against his old. He obviously celebrated after the game rather than before the game, being back in Houston, maybe visiting some of his favorite local establishments. Steph Curry also had a massive game as well, despite the loss. We knew he had always cooked against a Portland team. Where you really won out was your investment in the Lakers. Without AD, without LeBron, having Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroeder, 2 guys who stepped up in a big way to help them keep that game close there. That was and Buddy Hield as well in that game.
Buddy Hield was like...
That was the difference maker.
He got halfway through the first quarter. He's doing nothing. I'm like, idiot! Buddy Hield, I should have known better than trusting the Kings. And then he blew up, and in my mind, it's like, no one heard that comment from earlier, so you've always supported Buddy Hield. You make an interesting point on Harden. We were both on that. Great handicap, big triple-double. Is it time we start talking about James Harden in the MVP race? Because Joel Embiid was red hot last night. Great call on the money line on that pick. Yep. Hits the game-winning 3. But should we be talking about Harden?
Harden, I think, deserves to be mentioned, but just honorably. I don't think yet he is within that realm of Embiid, Jokic, LeBron, and maybe even Damian Lillard. A lot of people like to point to the fact that he quit on a Houston team, and that's real. That happened, but he has been very valuable for the Brooklyn Nets. Without Kevin Durant in this stretch, he's kind of been the piece to bring it together, because now Durant and Irving play off the ball. Harden is controlling that rock, and especially when Durant is back, he doesn't need to score 40 points. He'll give you 18 to 22, but he'll have the 8-9 rebounds and 14-15 assists. So the importance of making them so dangerous, I think, or as dangerous as they possibly can be, is having someone like Harden. That's the value I see in him. But I think he's got a lot of work to do to catch up with the rest.
All right, Fortenbaugh leads 4-2, round 7 next Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, right back here on Bet. Let's make some picks. Tim Bontemps will join us in just a little bit. We've got 9 games tonight. Let's start with the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. Phoenix is laying 11.5, total of 220.5. No Steph Curry, no Draymond Green. They didn't even make the trip from Portland down to Phoenix. Steph's heading to the All-Star game. Draymond's going to rest his ankle. Side, total, props. What do you like?
I am going to look at the Golden State team total, and I imagine, as you might surmise, with Steph and Draymond Green out, you're not surprised to hear me say I'm taking the under on the team total. 103.5. Not only are those 2 out, but even if they were in a difficult matchup with a Phoenix team that is 5th in the NBA in defensive rating and 29th in pace. So it's the perfect storm of limiting offense. They're great defensively, and they play a slow brand of basketball. With those 2 factors combining, under 103.5, I'd be shocked if they break 100.
Okay, so I'm right there with you. I'm just going to play the game total under 220.5 for this game. I think it's too high with those 2 out. Like you said, slow pace, lots of defense from Phoenix. Let's take a look at last night's game between the Warriors and the Blazers. The Warriors struggled to score with Steph Curry against an awful defense in Portland with 3 nights of rest to get ready for that game. Now they're playing a good defense with no Steph Curry, and they just played last night, no rest to get ready for this game. All of a sudden, they're going to put up a lot of points. Last night, you only had, 214 total points scored in that game? Without Steph Curry, the offensive rating plummets for the Golden State Warriors. I'm playing the under. You're playing the team total under. I don't know who's going to be scoring tonight. Wiggins? All right, we'll see how that works out. Game number 2. Speaking of the Portland Trailblazers, they're laying 4.5. Total of 237.5 against Sacramento Kings.
Quite the opposite.
Yes.
Expect a shootout here. 240 is well within reach with the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trailblazers. Sacramento, dead last in the NBA in defensive rating by a considerable margin, mind you, over the New Orleans Pelicans. Then you have Portland coming in at 28th. So literally 2 of the 3 least efficient defenses in all of the NBA. You couple that with the fact that Sacktown is 24-11 to the over this season. They're an over machine, not quite the New Orleans Pelicans. Portland is above 500 when it comes to cashing the over, 18-16. So more often than not, they're not certainly, again, New Orleans or Sacramento, but these 2 teams just scream over unless we get some news throughout the day that a Dame or a De'Aaron Fox is going to sit out. If they have those drivers at the point guard position, I expect an up and down, fast-paced, bucket-getting type of game.
I'm going the other way. You can hold that, the Dave Ross Tiger Woods special. You hold that and you pay it back. You pay it back. Inside joke, we'll explain it somewhere down the line. Huge risk here. Huge risk. I was staring at this morning when it was like 239. I'm thinking to myself, 240 is a lot of points. It's a lot. Now, it's the Kings. You lay out all the reasons why the Kings are going to give it up. In 5 of their last 6, there's been 240 or more points scored. So I'm definitely bucking the trend. I simply think the Kings got their win last night against the Lakers. That game came down to the wire. Blazers got their win against the Warriors. That game came down to the wire. Last game for both teams before the All-Star break. I think this is your ultimate pack-it-in game.
Really?
Both teams are going to show up. They're going to be tired. They just want to get to the break. Outside of Lillard, who's going to have to show up for the All-Star game, I think everyone else is going to be packing it in. So I'm going to play the under here. I will not watch this game. I am not going to watch this game feature 270 points as it blows over.
What do you think that pie chart's looking like for over bets and under bets?
Like 85-15? There's got to be a couple lunatics like me, but not many.
Best of luck, my friend. I will hold that.
You hold that.
I will hold that.
Number 3, the Los Angeles Clippers laying 5.5, total of 236. They're at the Washington Wizards. A lot in flux here. We're not sure if Kawhi Leonard's going to play. As of now, how are you capping it?
I like the Wizards. I'm gonna take those points, put them in my pocket with Washington, a team that's won 7 of their last 10 games, and it's not like they're beating the Minnesota Timberwolves in this stretch because Brad Beal playing at an all-star level, Russell Westbrook finally back, and no minutes restrictions. He's playing back-to-backs. He seems to be fully healthy, and he's balling. They beat in these 10 games Boston, Denver twice, the Lakers, and Portland. Those are very good teams that they beat. So, again, they're not beating up on patsies. I don't think Kawhi is going to play. I think my prognostication is with the All-Star game coming with extra rest now coming for him, why not just sit this game out? He was a late scratch on Tuesday. So I'm going to take the Wizards plus 5.5. They may even be my 3rd consecutive dog of the day pick on Daily Wager. Find out 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN.
Red hot with dog of the day. Red hot. He called the Sixers last night in the outright win. You called the
Nuggets over Milwaukee.
The outright win. That was a smash and grab job against the Bucks. He's been red hot. Catch him later today. I'm going to play Paul George over 27.5 points here. I don't think Leonard's going to play. Leonard is always looking for a reason not to play. On a night when everybody's taking off, you can get away with it. No one's going to call you on it. So whether he plays or doesn't, I still think Paul George goes off. Why? Washington's defense stinks. 29th in defensive rating, 29th in points allowed. These two got together a week or so ago. Clippers won that game in Los Angeles. Paul George scored 30 points in just 29 minutes, and Kawhi was playing. So if you take Kawhi out of the equation, up goes the usage rate, up goes the opportunities. You're playing a soft defense. I only need 27.5. I thought this would be closer to 30. Paul George over 27.5. Final game, and then we'll talk about the dunk contest and everything for the Saturday extravaganza. The Denver Nuggets laying 4.5, total of 226.5. They are in Indiana to take on the Pacers. Big win for the Pacers last night, coming all the way back to beat Cleveland. A thriller.
I am going to go back to a player prop that I used as a best bet earlier this week. It did not cash. It was a couple nights ago. Michael Porter Jr. double-double. It's plus 195.
I like it.
He has double-doubled in 4 of his last 5 games. The only one he didn't last game, of course, which I used it as a best bet. However, in that game, which they blew Milwaukee out, he had 11 points and 7 rebounds, only played 25 minutes. As of late, because he's been more assertive defensively and crashing the glass, Michael Malone has taken the reins off and given him 30 to 35 minutes a night.
Let him eat.
Because of the blowout, his minutes were capped, but 11 and 7 in 25 minutes. If he gets his normal run, he probably would have double-doubled in that game and grabbed 3 more rebounds. So, with Denver having a tighter spread here tonight, and I think this game is going to be a little bit closer, Indiana's 25th in the NBA in rebounding rate. I think Porter gets his 30-plus minutes, and I think he gets his double-double, and I love the value at plus 195, almost $2 in return for every one I bet.
I like it. I'm laying it with Denver in this game. The line's coming down, so I'm a little worried about that. I haven't figured out why. Maybe there's a late scratch. We'll find out sooner rather than later. The Pacers are playing their 5th game in their 5th city in 7 nights.
Woo!
Meanwhile, Denver's rested coming off the Milwaukee win, and I think Denver found something. After they lost to the Wizards on February 25th, they ripped off 3 straight wins. They've covered all 3 of those games. The Pacers have been terrible at home this season. 3-8 straight up, 2-9 against the spread in their last 11 home games, and they played that thriller that came down to the wire against Cleveland last night, got on the plane, traveled back. Something stinks about this line, but I'm going to buy into it. I'll play the Nuggets minus 4.5. Now, we will have more picks for the rest of the games coming up in a little bit, but right now we want to welcome in NBA reporter for ESPN, Tim Bontemps, kind enough to join us here on Bet. Tim, we appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with this. The dunk contest Saturday night will feature 3 youngsters, Obi Toppin, Anthony Simons from the Portland Trail Blazers, Cassius Stanley from the Indiana Pacers. We've got some odds from offshore. More will be coming soon from Caesars William Hill. But between those 3 players, how do you see it shaking down Saturday night?
Well, just so fans know, the slam dunk contest is not going to be on Saturday night this year. It's actually going to be at halftime of the game on Sunday as the NBA tries to jam everything in to one big extravaganza. But I think of those 3 guys, I think Obi Toppin would be my pick. Now, Cassius Stanley's a big-time athlete. He was a second-round pick by the Pacers. Nobody's ever heard of him, understandably, though he did play at Duke last year. Anthony Simons is an interesting athlete, but he's a bit of a smaller guard. I'm not sure how big of a highlight dunk he's going to have. Obi Toppin is a big-time dunker. He plays for the Knicks. I have a feeling if I had to pick one of those guys, I like him to come away with the win. But frankly, those odds, from what I've seen, are all pretty close. So, I'm not sure there's any real value across the board there.
Yeah, Tim, I was looking at those odds, and again, we'll wait and see what Caesars William Hill projects, but Cassius Stanley, we're told Caesars William Hill will not do that, but Cassius Stanley, from what we have seen, is the biggest long shot here, which I think is crazy, because if you ever saw this guy at Duke and his high school career, he actually broke Zion Williamson's school record for vert. And he's a 6'7" natural swing. He reminds me of Gerald Green. He reminds me of Zach LaVine. So that's the guy I'm looking at. If you can jump higher than Zion Williamson, I think you're going to have something in the bag for the fans there. I didn't know, though, it was going to be Sunday at halftime of the game, so I don't know how that squeezing it in is going to affect how these guys get it done. But I'm rolling with Stanley.
Caesars William Hill will have odds for the 3-point contest and the skills competition, but not the dunk contest, just to make sure that information's out there. And yes, thank you for the update. I had no idea it was all going to be taking place at halftime. I'm going to be with you on Cassius Stanley for 2 key reasons, right? Great handicap here. Number 1, longest odds. Number 2, he had the best YouTube video that popped up when I was scouting this morning, and I was enthralled, and I figured this is where my money's going to go. I'll go Cassius Stanley. So question number 2, when it comes to the 3-point contest, Steph Curry's headlining the field. Devin Booker's going to be in there as well. You look at all the participants, who do you like to emerge?
Well, look, if you're going to go with the 3-point shooting contest, I think you have to say Stephen Curry is the odds-on favorite to win, right? I mean, it's hard to go against picking the greatest shooter of all time. But from the odds I've seen, the guy I like was Devin Booker. I think I saw him at 5-1. Of those guys, he's a really good 3-point shooter. He's got a pretty quick release, and he can get hot and get going, which is what you need in a competition like that. And some of the longer odds guys like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I'm not really thinking they're going to be, their shots I don't think are great for a 3-point contest type setup. I like Booker's quick release, and I think of those guys, I think from a value standpoint, he would be my pick in terms of trying to make some money on that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to stay away from Steph Curry just because he's probably going to be the favorite. Zach LaVine, though, that guy can stroke it like Devin Booker. Let's get to the skills contest here, Tim, and here are the participants we'll have. Nick Vucevic from Orlando, a big man. Chris Paul from Phoenix, one of the most skilled guards in the game. Luka Doncic, how good is he? Domantas Sabonis, Julius Randle, and then representing historically black colleges from Tennessee State is Robert Covington of the Trailblazers. And we know how the All-Star Weekend is going to be something that is raising awareness and funds for historically black colleges. How do you handicap these 6 guys? Who do you look at as a favorite?
Well, look, the skills challenge really comes down to this. Who can make a 3 and who can make a pass, right? Because basically this comes down to you have to make one pass through a tire, and if you mess that up, you have no chance. And then it really just tends to come down to who makes the 3. And we've seen a bunch of big guys win this, and I actually really like Julius Randle. I saw him as the longest odds in what I saw earlier in this week, and he can handle the ball. He's a good passer, and he's got a decent shot. And, look, if you're just kind of coming down to a crapshoot in terms of who's going to make a 3, I'd rather take the longest odds on the board. And, with the way it's set up, you have the bigs against the smalls, then 1 against 1 at the end. I think Julius Randle's probably my best bet there.
NBA reporter for ESPN, Tim Bontemps, kind enough to join us here on Bet. Tim, outstanding information. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. All right, time for the good word. Thursday, here's how it works. I give out a phrase or a statement, something of the sorts. First word that pops into your head, you write it down on your little iPad, and then you discuss it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
4-time major championship winner Rory McIlroy is plus 188 to finish in the top 5 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational this weekend.
That, my friends, is pure. Pure like Rory with a 3-iron from 235 yards in the middle of the fairway.
Traffic.
Flush onto the green. Now, Joe, I don't know if you've taken a look at the leaderboard today at the API. Who fired a 66, 6-under, and is currently leading at last check after round 1? It would be Rory McIlroy.
How about that?
This was a pure line. There was no excess. There was no edge one way or the other. It was pure because Rory dominates at this course. He has finished top 6 in each of the last 4, and he's been top 5 in 3 of those 4, including a win back in 2018, I believe it was. He finished 6th last week at the WGC Workday, so he's in good form. His game is so perfectly suited to attack Bay Hill. This was pure, like Rory. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he wins come Sunday.
Pure. Good word. I am going to go with something even shorter. Go. As in go big or go home. Why are you playing him for the top 5 at plus 188 when you could play him to win at 7-1?
Okay.
Now, we came up with this morning before the tournament started, but Rory has had a ton of success at this course, as my colleague has so aptly laid out. So why play it small for him to finish in the top 5? Ooh, here's plus 188 when you get him at 7-1. He's 3-1 right now, live odds. Just like that, it's changed that much. Rory has finished in the top 5 of this event, 3 of his 6 visits, as you mentioned. That's 50% of the time, right? This implies at plus 188 a 34% chance. So if you figure he'll be in form like usual, it's not a bad bet, but go big or go home, people. Go big or go home.
Currently the leader in the clubhouse after one round at 6-under. Corey Connors is tied with him, but he is still on the course on the back 9.
UFC 259 on ESPN Plus. Saturday night, the main event. Israel Adesanya is plus 150 to go the distance with Jan Blachowicz.
Okay, the word I use here.
Oh, we're going with green.
Yeah, I'm going to mix it up here. Chic.
Chic, huh?
It is chic.
UFC and chic in the same sentence.
Chic is a synonym for stylish. Israel Adesanya's nickname is the Style Bender. He's as swaggy and as dominant as we have inside the octagon. Adesanya's not going to lose this fight. He has yet to lose as a UFC fighter. 5 of his last 9, though, have gone the distance, and this may just be silly handicapping, but just looking at a headshot of Jan Blachowicz, he looks like a tough dude. Blachowicz. He looks like he can take a punch. He looks like he will not make it easy on Adesanya, but Adesanya just too technically good, just too good, and he'll win by decision. Oh, a landslide, but I think Blachowicz can take it the distance. So I like it's a chic bet at plus 150 for someone who is definitely going to win.
Chic. I like it. That's creative. I am going to go with stop. Collaborate and listen. All right?
Joe is back with a brand new what?
Don't make this bet under any circumstances whatsoever. Adesanya is moving from middleweight to light heavyweight for this fight, but he's not putting on the weight. He's only coming up a little bit. By the time this fight goes off with all the rehydration that takes place, he's probably going to be giving up 20 pounds. Now, a lot of people think this is going to be a huge disadvantage. It could be, but it also means it's probably going to be faster. It's probably going to be better conditioned. And
Already was those things.
Over the course of the fight is going to be the difference. Because what's going to happen when you're going against a faster opponent who's frustrating you because he's so technically savvy, you will become frustrated. Frustration will give way to panic as you realize you're falling behind on the cards, and panic will give way to desperation. When you get desperate in the ring against a style bender, he will take advantage of that. He will finish you. Adesanya by KO, DKO, KO, TKO, or DQ, disqualification, plus 130. Make that your play.
Okay.
All right, number 3. Here we go.
Back
Giannis Antetokounmpo is currently leading the Milwaukee Bucks.
This one takes a minute.
Points,
So just go ahead over there.
rebounds, assists, and blocks. You believe that? Points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. Giannis leading the team in everything, and he's second in steals. Does anyone else play for the Bucks? Would be the question. We know at least one other guy who's leading the team in steals, but is there a third player?
That other guy who's leading the team in steals actually leads the entire NBA in steals per game. So that's really
What is this?
How you pronounce this word is frikastiko. Frikastiko. It is Greek, according to Google Translator.
Yeah, there's so many Ks,
for the
I know
word
it's Greek.
freaky. It is Greek for the word freaky, according to Google Translator. So if you're a Greek out there, please let me know if I am wrong.
Or go about your day as if this never happened, and that your country and its language weren't disgraced like this.
Frikastiko is how you say that. I practiced that for like 15 minutes last night. It's just freaky that someone can lead in all of these categories or be that dominant. We know that's why he's a 2-time league MVP. This reeks of LeBron being the king, Russ being a freak like he was when he was averaging a triple-double for OKC, even a unicorn like Jokic, who is probably pretty close to doing this for a team like the Denver Nuggets. So I borrowed from the Grecian language, frikastiko, which is freaky in Greek.
I like the commitment to the cause there. That's good work right there. I will stay on brand with
the English
today's
language
theme. I will go with an English word,
Oh.
the Queen's English, and it will be pause. We had go, we had stop, we had pause. As in, Giannis is leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks, and pause, money. He should be leading the team in these categories. He's one of the highest paid guys in the league. He's one of the highest paid guys on the team. This is the investment you made in Giannis. He is delivering on that investment. Back-to-back MVP winner. We shouldn't be surprised by any of this. Massive contract. Heavy lies the head that wears the crown, though. Heavy lies the head that wears the crown.
Indeed.
It's all on you. You get all the accolades if the team finally breaks through. You take the heat if the team loses. You don't like it? Talk to LeBron and figure out what he did to get past that. But that's the situation we are in right now. All right.
I like the little tie that was the thread between your 3 words.
Go, stop,
Very
and
good.
pause. I really stretched out my vocab today.
Is that something you use often with your 2 boys at home? Stop.
I like to just go to the belt, just flash the belt. No, they would use it on me before it worked the other way around. Those two are completely out of
Your
control.
2-year-old's Macho Man Randy Savage
He is.
Jr., huh?
I introduced him to that, and guess what? They took to it.
Oh,
they
surprise,
took to
surprise.
WWE,
Puppy
believe it or not.
surprise.
Thanks,
Gonna be
Vince.
snapping Slim Jims over your face in a few weeks.
All right, more picks. Earlier in the show, we went ahead and made picks on 4 of the 9 NBA games tonight. What we are about to do is play a little game to cover 4 of the remaining 5 games, which begs the question, why are we leaving out the 9th game? Great question. If I had an answer, I'd give it to you. In a scenario in which we are going to play Take Your Pick. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to go to a game. We're going to lay out 2 props from the game.
Right.
You pick the prop that is more likely to go over the total. Unders are not in play.
Unders are not in play because we're Americans.
We bet overs.
like overs.
I like that. All right. So here you go. Take your pick. Number 1, Memphis Grizzlies, Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis points over 31.5, or Jonas Valanciunas rebounds over 11.5.
I mean, it's got to be Giannis here. 32 plus in 4 of his last 5 games. He had 27 in the 1 game that he didn't, but he only played 33 minutes. That blowout loss to Denver. Drew Holiday yet to top 18 minutes since he's returned. So, and that's because he was dealing with COVID. So the kind of shape that he's in,
Gotta
the
work it
stamina.
back.
There we go, baby. Thank you very much. Not quite up to speed. So in that time, Giannis has taken more of the offensive load. Milwaukee, by the way, 3rd in the NBA in rebounding rate, which may make it difficult for Big JV, who doesn't play more than 28 to 30 minutes a game.
I'm going to go the other way on this one. It was tough, to be honest with you. I don't have a great cap on this. Giannis, to get to 32 points, that's a pretty big ask. As great as he is, he's done it in 14 of 34 games this season. 41%.
There.
Memphis isn't exactly one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA, but they're not great. If I have to make the pick here, I will go with Valanciunas, but like I said, it's not a pick that I love. Roulette bet number 1. Let's see how this keeps rolling. Take your pick number 2. The Knicks and the Pistons. RJ Barrett points, 16.5, versus Julius Randle rebounds, 10.5.
I'm going to go Big Julius here. Derrick Rose currently questionable, but if he plays, that eats into a lot of the usage and opportunity for RJ Barrett to score because Rose will take a lot of that responsibility. Detroit, meanwhile, 7 rotation players out last night against Toronto. They're likely going to be big-time shorthanded again, and they're 20th in rebound rate. We know Tom Thibodeau's going to let him play 36, 38, 40 minutes, so I'd rather bank on that.
I am right there with you. So much so, we're just going to force you out of the equation and give myself full credit for it.
Remember how you were talking about disrespectful yesterday? There it is. That was the most disrespectful thing you've done in the history of bet.
RJ Barrett is averaging 16.4 points per game. So this is right on the number, but he's going to need the minutes like you said. But they're playing Detroit tonight. And we already know the Knicks suppress scoring as well as anyone. Good defense, slow pace, questionable offense. The Pistons are very similar. Slow pace, questionable defense, terrible offense. This total, it was sitting last I checked somewhere around 208, which in the year 2021 is essentially the Knicks playing the Heat from the late 90s, if you remember some of those showdowns. So ultimately, getting the 17 points in a matchup like this, I think is going to be a big ask for a guy who's averaging right on that number. Take your pick, number 3. The Pelicans and the Heat. Some question marks as to Jimmy Butler and some guys who may play tonight, so keep your eye on it. Remember, a lot up in the air for guys who are going to be getting rest. Final game for a lot of teams before the All-Star break. Eric Bledsoe, points plus rebounds, 17.5 versus Lonzo Ball assists, 5.5.
I'm going to go with Lonzo here.
Look at that.
Despite playing 33 or more minutes in each of his last 5 games, Bledsoe has only cleared this threshold of 17.5 points plus rebounds in 2 of those games. Now, that's the good thing. His minutes have been going up for some reason from Stan Van Gundy. Ball, meanwhile, in his last 6 games, has 4 occurrences of 6 or more assists, and he usually plays more minutes. And if Jimmy is out, it should make it easier for the Pelicans to score. More potential assists, more opportunities for Lonzo Ball. I'm going with Lonzo.
Ooh, another roulette bet. I'm going to go with Eric Bledsoe here. So Lonzo Ball, the line was originally 6.5 assists and then moved to 5.5, which means someone obviously made a bet, possibly a sizable wager, on this prop, which moved it down a full point. So I see that, or a full assist, I should say. So I see that and I think to myself, do I want to be on the other side of that move? That's a big question. Okay. Then I dig into Bledsoe's numbers. Double digits in 7 of his last 8 games, as you mentioned, and he's got 23 rebounds over his last 5 games. A lot of recency bias there and a small sample size, but that's where I'll take the shot. Again, this is a tough one.
Yeah,
these are really tough questions.
Bledsoe is playing more minutes, but
yeah,
I'm going
numbers are up, scoring's up. I will take a shot there. Final question for Take Your Pick. The Celtics and the Raptors. Kyle Lowry, 3-point field goals over 3.5 versus Kemba Walker points over 18.5.
Another really tough one here because the Raptors are likely going to be very, very shorthanded again. No Van Vliet, no Siakam. OG Anunoby did not play. I think he's going to be out. McCaw and Flynn, some guards who could spell Lowry. So he's going to have to play big minutes like him and Norm Powell did. They were basically the only 2 options they had offensively last night in that loss to Detroit. And we know Lowry likes to shoot threes. But I'm going to go with cardiac Kemba Walker over 18.5.
A lot of commentary though pro Lowry before you went.
You know
to Kemba.
I like a
juicy.
You know I like a juicy return. Plus 140 made me think about it. Walker has scored 19 plus in 7 of his last 9 games. He's been way more assertive offensively. He's in a good groove, and it's coincided with a little bit of a downturn in the efficiency from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown who've been in and out of the lineup. I think Tatum and Brown just want to get to the break because they need a break because they tried to carry this team without Marcus Smart. So Walker shouldering more of that offensive load, and Toronto, again, is going to be easy to score on tonight without Anunoby, without Van Vliet, without Siakam. Literally their 3 best defensive players. That's why I like Kemba.
I am with you on here, but without all of the praise for Kyle Lowry before then switching over to Kemba Walker. Lowry's averaging, 2.9 3-pointers per game this season, so we are asking him to go above and beyond, which is why you get the juicy fruit there on the price tag. Boston is top 10 in the NBA in opponent three-point percentage. So they've done a pretty good job this season of defending opponents' three-pointers. Kemba, though, here's what concerns me. This prop was originally 19.5 points, dropped to 18.5. So now I find myself between a rock and a hard place. Don't like either, but I will side with Kemba. Let's put some points up. He's been scoring as of late. We've been doing pretty well.
I'm going to write that.
All right, we find ourselves opposite on a couple. For the people, daily wagers, 6 p.m. Eastern, ESPN 2. Any tease as to what you might have in store? Any special play? Any double-doubles?
I told you I'm going to be on a double-double prop in the NBA that we discussed here, and I have the dog bone for the third straight show. And there is a dog. I like 5.5-point dog. I think he'll win outright tonight.
He's cooking. He's also known as Tyler Foljam. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. This is Bet from Las Vegas. Thank you so much for checking us out. Greatly appreciate it as always. Have an excellent weekend. We'll catch you Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern.